Hi, and welcome to the first video for Module 7. In this module, we're going to be looking at another mechanism for multi-view applications, the tab view controller. And this is a pretty common way of handling multiple views where you have a tab bar along the bottom or along the side. I guess that's more typical for an iPad, and you can pick one tab. And so it's sort of there are plenty of it's a way of doing apps for computers as well. Programs like Microsoft Word commonly have tabs, and browsers have tabs. It's useful for phones because it takes up very little screen real estate for the switching mechanism. So we're going to do that, and in order to have something for each of the content views to display, we're going to cover another topic, pickers, which are ways of selecting from predefined lists. And we're going to look at 5 different kinds of pickers, each one in a different tab. So let's get started. First of all, I want to demo the full app, and then we'll build it. So oops. For some reason, taking a minute to load. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and run this. You can see here there are quite a few files and so forth, and while I'm waiting on it to start, I'll talk about the fairly complex storyboard we've got going, in which we've got the controller up here, which is our initial view, and then 5 content views. I've deviated a little bit from what the book does in the way I built this and in what the views look like. We'll get to that when it's running. Each tab at the bottom navigates you to a different kind of picker. We have a date picker, a picker with a single component. You can't really see how this works in the storyboard because the nature, there's only 2 kinds of pickers in the library. There's a date picker, and then there's every other kind of picker, which is just called a picker. And those are going to look the same here, but we're going to have a picker with a single component, a picker with 2 components. Let's see, which one is that? This is the picker with 2 components. A picker with 2 components for the second component depends on the first. Then we're going to make sort of in the last one, a slot machine game where we're just sort of using the picker as a user interface element. It looks like our app is running, so let me demo these. So we pick a picker, and you can see what I'm talking about here, the double component. It's components of a sandwich, kind of meat and kind of bread. We can pick a dependent component is a zip, state, and zip code, and the zip codes that you can choose from change with the state. And then lastly, the slot machine game. And let's go back to our date picker, and we'll pick a date. So the way you pick in components is by dragging and sliding, so or tapping. So I'm going to pick a date and time. Saturday, May 11th at 10:15 p.m. And when I click select, it's going to throw up an alert that shows what I've picked. And then there's a button at the bottom to make the alert go away. In the single picker, we're picking components from Star Wars. You just pick one and select it. The double component, you pick what you want in your sandwich. In the dependent component, you pick a state, and then over here you get the zip codes for that state. So you picked a state and a zip code within the state, and we get an alert message telling us about that. Now the custom picker plays a slot machine game. I'm going to try to make the sound work here. The speakers on this computer I think we've got it going here. This has sound with it. Hopefully the microphone will pick it up. I've got some Bluetooth. The internal speakers on this Mac don't work, but I've hooked it to a Bluetooth speaker, so it should work. What we're going to do here, there's a button to spin, and when you get 3 of the same thing in a row, you win. And the sound doesn't. Okay, here we go. Hopefully you can hear that. And you can see what happens when you get 3 in a row. You win. You notice that the spin button goes away while the picture is spinning. And so we'll get to look at some other features like sound and scheduling things to run in the future in this picker. So I'm going to stop here, and in the next video we're going to put together all the scaffolding, that is the tab bar controller, these icons down here, the 5 content views in the storyboard, and make the navigation work, these segues here. They're called segues because it's that metaphor of laying out a movie. A storyboard is what movie writers use to tell you what the scenes are going to be in the movie and how you move between them. Each one of these screens is called a scene in iOS speak, and so the transition from scene to scene is naturally a segue, just like in a movie. S-E-G-U-E, not the scooter. Okay, so I'll stop here, and we'll do that in the next video.